Hi.
All right, good morning, everybody. 11:59 a.m. Eastern time, still morning here. We'll give it one more minute for people to hop on, but if you could please, if you went out there in the field and protected at least one family, at least one family this week, let's go ahead and post our name, who we're direct to, our apps and APV for the week to the chat portion, and we will get started here and kick things off in 1 minute. All right, well, welcome everyone. It is noon Eastern time, 11 a.m. Central. Welcome everyone to the Spieldenner Master Agency Friday sales meeting. Glad you're tuning in with us here. My name is Ian Graham. I'm an agency director here with Symmetry Financial Group. Direct to Sterling Gatling, part of the Skeen, Alderson, Cloutier, Spieldenner, Delaney, Pritchett hierarchy. I'm very blessed to be so. If you're a veteran, we're really going to get into some extremely important nuts and bolts towards the later part of our call today. Really excited about this to help us hone in and sharpen that axe, so to speak, and really master our craft here. So definitely have your pens and papers ready. If you're newer with us, if you're in the beginning stages of our hiring process, we did just begin a week ago our Q4 hiring for 2020, and so you might be in that new batch of hires here at Symmetry Financial. If you're looking at us for the first or second time, you're in the interview process, you're not quite sure if Symmetry is the right fit for you. We're not maybe sure that if you're a right fit for us and you're just checking things out, welcome. We're glad to have you here today. But please make sure that if you are in that spot where you're brand new with us, or you're still in the interview process, make sure to write down whatever questions you have as we go through things today, as well as what your goals are. We're an extremely goal-oriented organization, and if we don't know where you're trying to get to, we can't help you get there. We just be driving aimlessly. So we really want to know after today, what are those questions that you have? Let's clear those up. But then also, what are your goals, both short-term and long-term? What's that next checkpoint in your life that you're trying to arrive at? Not a destination. We're not about destinations, because we can always grow and we can always become better. But what's that next checkpoint for you? And so be sure to write those things down as we go through numbers. The first half of today is really going to be geared toward you, so we can educate you on exactly who we are and what we do. We're not looking for everyone. We're looking for people who are ready to make a change. We're looking for the motivated. We're not here to motivate you. And so we're really going to get into some numbers to see if there's a mutual fit both ways, and then go forward. And like I said, the latter part will be some really important training. But just want to go through a couple announcements before we kick things off. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. I want to begin with our month of September leaderboards. Can everyone see this okay? Thumbs up. Yep, perfect. So top 5 personal producers for the Spieldenner Master Agency for the month of September, starting with number 5, Alan Alderson, coming in at 13,038. Ian Mikowski at number 4, 13,047. APV, number 3, Justin Brock, 14,725. Number 2, Mr. Chris Ripple, 18,180 APV. And number 1, there can only be one number 1, like Brandon always says on the national call. And that is Mark Jaffe. Great month, Mark, 19,604. Top 5 app count, myself with 16, Ian Mikowski with 18, A. Busick 19, Alan Smith 21, and Chris Ripple. Excellent job protecting families numerous times with 28 apps coming in at number 1 for the month of September. Want to pivot over to, find my little arrow here, over to last week. So guys and gals, October is a 5-week turn-in. And so let's make sure that we're going out there and we know what we need to do to hit our raises according to the promotion guidelines. especially if you're newer with us, you should be hitting raises every 2 months. You should be earning 5% incremental raises every 2 months. If you're intentional with your time, if you're doing the work, if you're taking that massive action, constant correction, if you're plugging in, there's no reason you shouldn't be. So let's make sure that we know what we need to do on a weekly basis, and we know what our numbers need to be like on a weekly basis in order to earn those raises and get paid more for doing the same amount of work. So last week in the Spieldenner Master Agency, number 5 APV was Alan Smith for 48.48. Number 4, Rick Deisinger, 48.76. Number 3, Karen Zelaya. I think I pronounced your name right, Karen. Forgive me if I didn't, but Karen Zelaya, 55.85. Number 2, Dan Millette, 65.40. And number 1, Alan Mowbray, 69.83. Shows us that age does not matter. Just kidding with you, Alan. Love you, but excellent week, and you're a constant in the agency, and we can always count on you for being that consistent producer. So 69.83, excellent week. Top 5 app count for last week: A. Busick with 6, and Karen Zelaya with 6. Chris Ripple coming in with 7, and then Alan Smith and Rick Deisinger tied with 8 apps for the week. So let me end that, and let's talk about what we did this week. Friday is the last day of our sales week on a regular basis here at Symmetry Financial. So if you did protect at least one family this week, you went out there and you either sat down with them, or you ran a virtual appointment over Zoom or over the phone, and you protected at least one family, make sure that you get your numbers up here to the chat. I'm going to read through these and really recognize your accomplishments, because that's the root of what we do. Is we're helping families, we're protecting them, and we want to recognize everyone who is going out there and doing that. So let me scroll up here. You know, that's a really skinny scroll bar. Have you guys, Josh, you ever noticed that on the chat? It's a skinny little scroll bar there. So we're going to read through these. A. Busick, direct to Josh Busick, 5 apps for 4,000. Joseph Mishko, 1 app direct to Devin Foster, 1 app for 482. Still 3 appointments left today. Awesome stuff. Not ending it there. Joshua Jones, direct to Fred Sanders, 2 apps for 379. Joel Skeen, direct to Trey Alderson Cloutier, 3 apps for 2,800. Trey Benton, direct to John Clayton, 3 apps for 3075. And another appointment still yet to go today. Preston Semler, direct to Josh Busick, 1 app for 867. 2 appointments left. Tom McDonald, direct to Brandy Kimbrell, 2 apps for 5950. Great apps, Tom. Toma Dahlia, direct to myself, 5 apps for 3,000. John Clayton, direct to Jason and Mina Hayes, 5 apps for 8904. 8904, and that's the reason that maybe we'll get to hear from you later, John. That's great. This week's production, I'm assuming for the Clayton agency, is just shy, 34 cents shy of 18,000. So awesome stuff. Antonio Greer, direct to John Clayton, 3 apps for 2228. Kip Kemboy, direct to me, 3 apps for 7548. Nice IULs yesterday, Kip. Way to protect families in more ways than just the mortgage protection. Lamecca Pruitt, direct to John Clayton and Jason Hayes and Josh Busick, 1996. Give him props to your whole hierarchy. Rick Deisinger, direct to Chris Ripple, 9 apps for 5,100. And definitely welcome to all the new people here. Welcome out, Kevin. Lamecca actually had 3 apps. Alan Mowbray, direct to Jimmy Spieldenner, following up number 1 app count last week with 10 apps this week, Alan. That's what I'm talking about. 5267. Nice job, sir. Kim Busick. I just love that Kim Busick is out here writing. You know, she's basically what I see that as is she's saying that she's better than Josh. And so far, you know, I won't go that far, Josh. No worries. But Kim, love to see you out here writing and representing. And you are what you are becoming, Kim, is an absolute example to all the ladies. An absolute example to all the ladies, and kudos to all the other ladies. And in a very male-dominated industry, we have so many women that work with us because Symmetry has this amazing system. I'm not going to go down that tangent, but Tom McDonald, Ed Peck, direct to Tom McDonald, 4 apps for 17,742. Those are some apps right there. Herb Busick, direct to Josh Busick, 1 app for 2179 with 5 appointments left tomorrow. Derek Maddox, direct to me, 7 apps for 8,100. Really good app and APV count, Derek. Alan Smith, another constant, direct to Jimmy Spieldenner, 7 apps for 5545. Chris Ripple, another constant, directed Jimmy Spieldenner, 7 apps for 46, 66. Terry, I feel like this is going to be a really good week. I can't wait to see our leaderboards today, ma'am. And by the way, thank you for everything that you do behind the scenes to help our agency run as squeaky clean as it does. Sterling Gatling, directed Joel Skeen, 5 apps for 52.94. Ian Mikowski, directed Chris Ripple, 6 apps for 51.45. Travis Thompson, directed Joel Skeen, 1 app for 1,200. Dan Millette, directed Trailers and Cloutier, 7 apps for 14,250. There are some big weeks this week. Donnie Butler directed Brainy Kimbrell, 4 apps for 761. Leanne Johnson directed Josh Busick, 2 apps for 1,045. Judy Myers Nelson, I believe, directed Trailers and Cloutier, 5,298 APV. Lamecca Forster's just approved. It looks like another app just got approved. Awesome. iPhone Mark, I don't know who you are, but iPhone Mark, maybe it's Mark with an iPhone. And thank you for choosing the right device. But 2 apps for 476, 5 pending, 2 more appointments. Davion Clark, direct to myself, 10 apps. Davion, I didn't realize you wrote 10 this week. Nice job, sir. For 85.29 APV. Majesty Hennings, 2 apps, direct to Abe Busick, 2 apps for 768. And Jimmy, yeah, I'm with you there, Jimmy. I believe this is our best week since COVID started, maybe March or February. Nice work, team. Luke Cavallaro coming in. Last but not least, certainly 2 apps for 1972. Really strong week. I love all these 5 apps or higher count. Really, that's where it matters, is that app count, because we're protecting those families. Justin Brock, direct to Trailers and Cloutier, 4 apps for 10K. Stellar week, everyone, and way to go out there and protect those families. We're going to get into what all this means, what all these numbers mean, and we're going to break all that down for you new folks. But again, if you just hopped on a couple minutes late, if you are brand new with us, if you're in that Q4 of 2020 interview process with us, you're looking for either more money, you're looking for more time, you're looking for a better culture, you're looking for better work-life balance, whatever that is, whatever you're trying to get away from and get to, today is really not to try to make you interested. It's to see if this might be a right fit for you. We're not looking to hire in the masses and see who sticks. We're looking to find that person who's ready to make a change, who's ready to better their lives, and who's motivated to go out there and get results. That person who has that internal drive. And if that's you, if you consider yourself in the top 20% of Americans in terms of work ethic and coachability, this might end up being a pretty good fit. I can't promise you that, but I can promise you we're going to move as fast as you're willing to move. So welcome. Please take notes. Please write down your questions as well as what those short-term and long-term goals are. So again, we can help you get to where you're trying to get to. I want to introduce the gentleman. Very excited about this today. The gentleman who's going to be going through our overview. He's been with our company now for a couple of years. It only took him 2 years to hit agency owner. I think just over 2 years to hit AO, and his agency has almost done 100,000 as an agency. Had a stellar week this week, and so I'm really excited to hear from him. They're one of the hottest agencies in the Spieldenner agency, probably pretty much the company right now in terms of base shops and agencies. Have a ton of momentum. And I know this gentleman always brings it, and he's gonna bring it for you guys from a passionate standpoint of where he was before and where he's at now, and break down some numbers of how things work. So definitely a big welcome and thank you in advance to agency owner Mr. John Clayton. I'm gonna pass this over to you to roll through all the details here for us.
Well, thanks for the introduction, Ann. You have a way to warm a person up, right? For those who don't know me, my name is John Clayton, and I'm director Jason and Mina Hayes in the Busick agency. As Ian mentioned, I've been with Symmetry for a little bit over 2 years now. But prior to Symmetry, I used to work for AT&T. And for those who know me, they know that story. But about 3 years ago, I was helping a gentleman. He came inside the store, and he was pretty upset. And back then with AT&T, we had this survey. So if you get a bad survey, of course, the store numbers drop. So as the client was helping him, the customer, I kind of stepped in because I was a manager. And as a manager, you don't get those surveys, right? So we started conversing, and I saw his profile that he would work for commercial real estate, and I was looking for a new career change. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, does commercial real estate pays well?" He said, "No." I said, "Okay." So as I proceeded to help the guy, I said, "You buying this phone for your wife?" He said, "No, I'm buying it for my daughter." I said, "Cool. So how old is your daughter?" He says, "Which one? Like, how many kids do you have?" He said, "I have 5 kids." I said, "Okay. What do your wife do for a living?" He said, "She doesn't work." So now I'm baffled. I said, "Wait a minute now. You have 5 kids. Your wife does not work. Are you trying to tell me that commercial real estate does not pay?" He said, it doesn't. I use that particular fan number to get my discount. But I sell insurance. Now you help me, I'm gonna help you. Look into it. And I said, "Insurance? Man, whatever. I'm not going to do that." But as he walked away, he was smiling. So I looked into it. I looked into it. And now, 3 years later, I've been doing insurance now. And now if I walk inside of the store, I can have the same effect on people. As of late, my wife and I, we just finally started using our dining table as a family. Now I could have dinner and lunch with my kids. Because before that, I would get off work by 8 o'clock. So you know what that means. I'm stopping at a fast food restaurant eating hamburgers, gaining weight. We never use that dining table. So for the past 3 years now, well, I'm sorry, for the past 2 months, my wife, she was able to quit her job and we could have dinner as a family. Now, for some people, you may cannot relate to that because, you may not be married, which is okay. And if some of you are married, you probably don't want to have dinner with your spouse, which is okay as well. But for me, I needed that in my life. I need that relationship. I needed to have that work-life balance. And I was fed up with allowing YouTube to raise my 6-year-old. Well, he's 7 now. Everything on YouTube. So that communication and that family and that rapport that I have now is thanks to Symmetry. So I'm definitely appreciative for the opportunity. So what we're going to do now, we're going to kind of dive into the corporate overview as to who we are and what we do. So I'm going to share my screen here. And I'm going to pull it up. Good old faith. Okay, everybody see that? Thumbs up, and can you give me that? All righty. So let's talk about, Symmetry, because Symmetry has been around for quite some time, about 10 years now. And as Ed mentioned, it's not for everyone. I'm going to get this from being stuck. There we go. So it's not for everyone, but for those who have, fallen in love with Symmetry, it has been a great place. This is a recession-resistant industry. Industry has been around during the Great Depression. It didn't fold. During the debacle in 9/11, it did not fold. And the whole debacle since 2008, it did not fold. So insurance has been around, and we get the chance to play in that field. We have a strong culture, and we have leadership that is developed on a daily basis. For those who really want to change their life and their lifestyle, and just have a potential growth in their income, well, then that's who we are. Now, about us as well, we're going to kind of dive into how we do it. What are we doing? How do we find our clients? Which is very important, all right? You can't sell a product if you don't have any consumers to buy. And how do we support our agents who go out and help families? And of course, everyone know how do we get paid. So let's talk a little bit about Symmetry. I'm happy to say for the past 5 years now, we have been ranked, among the top 5,000. And that's big. We used to pride ourselves at AT&T with the JD Power Award. So now we get to, do the same thing here with Symmetry. Also, we've been voted with the top culture by Entrepreneur in 2017 and 18. But it wouldn't be this without these gentlemen, Brandon Casey, and also Brian. Now, I really like Brandon and Casey. because they come from where I come from. They work hard. These were insurance agents just like you and I, and those who are also want to become an insurance agent. So they know all about the peaks and valleys, the highs and the lows, and they are still true insurance agents to their heart today. And Brian Pope, he had the brains behind this vehicle. He had the funds and the relationships, and they just combined forces, and they created Symmetry. They developed this back in 2009. But, it was a need, and like I said, going back to my days at AT&T, I used to get so many customers come in and say, hey, you all do a lot to bring in new customers. But what about the existing customers? What are y'all gonna do for them? The same with Symmetry. We got very talented agents who go out, they can find new homeowners and new clients, and we help them. Symmetry has that on lock. But it was still a need. We needed someone to go back and help these families throughout their life journey. Go back and dial their book of business. Go back and talk to them about different products. That was not my strong suit. And I think a lot of people here at Symmetry also had, some issues and challenges with that as well. So Symmetry decided to partner with Assure, because that's what they do. They go back and they continue to help these families over and over again. And collectively, they formed Quality back in 2020. So just a couple of months ago. But let's talk about what we do. As I mentioned before, we help families. We want to protect them when they first start out with their career. Then they get married, they may buy a home, have babies, and then their babies start having babies, and then they also retire. So that's a life's journey. And what we want to do, we want to be with them. And we could help protect their assets through life insurance, through disability and health, and also through retirement. So this is not a one-stop shop for these homeowners. We want to make sure we could help them along the way. And we do that because we were able to partner up with some of the top-rated insurance carriers in the United States, which is big. Because I hear so many people say, well, what if I just want to create my own insurance company and I can find clients that way? Well, you could try that. But what type of brand do you have? What type of reputation? Why would somebody buy insurance from John Clay's Insurance that don't have no idea who I am? See, when you mention Symmetry, people may have not heard of Symmetry as a company, but they'd heard of Mutual Omaha. That they'd heard of the Gerber Life, the little baby, John Hancock, America. These companies been around for hundreds of years, all right? So we could have the power and the belief that when we sit down with these homeowners, we are providing the best service because we have the top-rated insurance companies out there. We could help them. But what's the point of having a product if there's not a need? So do we have a need, all right? So let's just kind of take a look at some of these numbers. And some of these measures could be rather alarming. 7 out of 10 households rely on 2 incomes. I was in that situation. Now, without my wife's income, we would struggle financially. Without my income, she would have struggled financially. So if we're losing the income, then guess what? Foreclosure is caused by death or disability. I would have been one of those statistics as well. 53% of foreclosures is caused by death or disability. Think about that. There's over 119 million households in the United States, and 53% of them will be foreclosed due to death or disability. That's an alarming number. But just think about the funeral costs. How many of us could just go inside our bank account and pull out $10,000? How many of us could do that? Not too many people. That's why we see GoFundMe, a lot of fish fries, just depending where you're at in the South, passing the plate, at your religious service, just to bury people. So is there a need for our product? Absolutely. Absolutely. They need our help. But once again, we may have a good product, and we may have a need, but how are we doing? Now, how are Symmetry doing? See, if you could have a time machine and go back in time And we know right now. Will we get on the Titanic? I think not. You know, the ship went down. So when people decide to join our ship, our boat, our company, they want to know, is this company going up or going down? Well, let's just look at these numbers. You know, we started back in 2009 and 2010. You know, we went from 307,000 to 3.3 million. And then let's just fast forward 3 years later, went from 3 million to 13 million. Let's fast forward 3 years later, 2016, it went to 55 million. So you're looking at these numbers, and in the back of your mind, you may be thinking, okay, well, eventually it's going to stop. Nothing lasts forever. And we know that. But these numbers still indicating people need us. 2019, we did over 122 million. So our ship is constantly growing. It's floating. And we are looking for the right ones to join our ship. As Ian mentioned, it's not for everyone, and we know that. But for the right ones, they could float forever, right? So we want to once again talk about this industry because, as I mentioned before, insurance has been around, and you may see those numbers that I talked about with Symmetry doing over 125 million. You may think, okay, we'd have made it too late. We'd arrived at the party and the party is over. How many of us did that? Hopped on something and then it went out. But we're operating in a $5.7 billion industry. We're only doing 125 million. Okay. So if you look at this particular slide right here, this is a pie. And just, just depends on where you at in a part of the country. I'm going to call this a pecan pie, whatever you want to call it. But it's a pecan pie because I'm from the South, right? Now, we did 125 million. We just one pecan on this large pie. There's a lot more pecans to be taken off this pie. That's what we're operating in. So we still have time. Over $30 billion in face amount. That's what we've done since we've been in business. Over 398 million in total premium. And this number right here, over 300,000 families protected. That's impressive to me because 300,000 families is no longer have to ask people to help bury them. They're no longer have to ask people to help them pay a mortgage. That's what we do. And we need more people to come and get a slice of this pie. Because we're just the ingredient. We're not the pie. Now, we got a lot of capacity that we're trying to tap into. Now, as I mentioned before, Symmetry is not a one-size-fits-all. We have different paths. Everybody's journey is different. We just say, hey, whatever journey you decide, let's get on track, right? And I talks about running laps. So let's talk about this particular lap. This is the owner track. This will give you the power to create, passive income for you and for your family. And also give you that balance of time and money. Now, keep in mind that does not happen instantly. As Ed mentioned, it took me about a good 2 years or so to become an agency owner. But now I can get some of that time back and have those relationships with my wife and with my sons. So that's the owner track. If you see one day that you want to come out the field and build an organization and a business, you do have that option. But then you have other people say, hey, I'm not a big fan of growing an agency. I get it. I don't know why you want to do that, but some people choose to do that, and I'm okay with that. They want to just go out and help families. That they have a big heart to sit in front of homeowners and protect them, and they can make a great living just by helping families. They don't have to show their responsibility in leading a team. They just have to lead themselves. So you have that producer track, which is also a great way to make an income. But if you look at the time it takes, between 2 years and 3 years, you can have a chance to achieve financial freedom, financial independence. And I just want us to really think about that because sometimes people are like, man, 3 years? You know, they make the ugly face, 3 years? But I gave AT&T 9 years, all right? Some of us gave jobs 15 years. This COVID epidemic we just had, it is still going on. I know people that gave their job 20 years just to get laid off, and they did not achieve financial independence. Matter of fact, they trying to find another job. So when we talk about 2 to 3 years of hard work, is it worth it? All right. We also have different trip incentives. We also have some of the most affordable leads in the industry. Because once again, we don't want you out here struggling to get business. We want to make sure you have a profitable business. And then we'll also introduce a whole new platform which is called Debt Free Life. That is also another path. You helping families get out of debt 9 years or less without spending an additional money. Now, when you ask some families, hey, would you like a life insurance policy? Some say yes, some say no. No, but you ask a person, hey, do you want to get out of debt 9 years or less without paying any extra money? I think everybody's hands will go up at that point. I don't believe anyone like paying bills. You know, if they do, they come pay some of my bills. So let me know if you like paying bills. But if we could show families how to get out of debt, then that's what we do. That's all the different paths we have out here that Central offers. But once again, let's talk about how we find these clients. 'Cause, you know, I did mention leads, and some people ask, you know, do I have to buy leads or do I have to? Are they given to me? Well, the answer is this: you don't have to buy leads at all. It's optional. But also keep this in mind: we want to spend most of our time helping families and not prospecting. I did the friends and family. Me personally, that was hard. Half of them support the business. You know, I'd have tried cold calling. That's hard. You know, I'd have tried door knocking. That is hard. All right. So you can choose that path as well. But for those who say, hey, I'd have tried that as well, let me try something different. We do have leads. And we have over 10,000 leads that is generated on average every week. Those are 10,000 families that asking for an agent to come out and help them. Over 1 million of bonus leads in our inventory. I mean, if you look at some of the counties, there's no one working these leads. Right now, we have more demand for help than we have agents. Like, so we could choose that route, or we could choose to go door knocking and prospecting. You know, it's up to us as an individual. But I would just advise everyone, you know, spend more time selling than prospecting. And if you have a good warm market or you're good at door knocking and you making money, well, keep on doing that as well. But we do want to spend more time selling. And Synergy saw the need of that, need for that. Put the right person in front of the right family, and it's a mutual benefit. I got coverage. I made commission. We all happy. We eat some of the pecan pie on the way out the door. That's what we're trying to do here. So, what are some of these leads? You know, because that's important. You know, we want to know, are these real legit leads, or is it type of leads that when you go to your state fair, let's say, hey, versus rent a car, and all of a sudden you get a guy like me calling you, forget about that car. Do you need life insurance? Are those the type of leads that we doing? No. So we have mortgage protection leads, which was, you know, it states if you were to die, we will pay off the loan amount in this amount. It's straightforward. That'll start generating debt-free life leads, which is a game changer. You know, founder expense leads, life insurance leads. Now we have instant leads right now. They're coming through the internet, which is amazing. I just wrote one last week. She sent she got online and she said, hey, I need life insurance. I called her, you know, within 10 minutes, I wrote an application. It was $389 instant. People need help. And I know I'm super excited about this recruitment leads because I'm trying to, build my agency. I know Ann is, building his agency, so I'm super excited about these recruitment leads as well. Symmetry is putting all these different platforms, these different tools in our hands to help us generate a thriving business, you know, at a less time. So you can have a thriving business, but you can be working a lot. Then you're really not that profitable when it comes to your time. We want you to have time and money. So it's just another way for agents to get what they want. Also, we want to support you. The thing about it, most people get their insurance license and we're all oblivious about insurance. You have your whole life, you have your term life, you have all these different types of products. Universal life, ain't just universal life. So what we put together, we have our weekly training calls and webinars just like this, that to help new agents understand the different types of products, to help agents understand how to write good business. We also have local and regional and national training events. These are, prior to COVID, we used to get together and we used to have these boot camps. And where we get this hands-on experience from people who have did what we're trying to do. And not only have they done it, they were extremely successful in their field. And they are teaching us a step-by-step platform or step-by-step system that we could follow. And then we'll also have that one-on-one mentorship, which is, I just think is one of the greatest tools we have. Because it was from Jason and Josh, and even Trey, really just taking me by the hand and pointing to me. I want to be an agency owner. I'm an agency owner now, and I'm trying to move up in the company. I've never been an agency owner before, so guess what? I still need that mentorship from Josh. And he has done it. But one thing about that mentorship, you have to earn that mentorship. It's just not given to you based on entitlement. Okay, this is a business partnership. So, you got to be doing what you say you're going to do. And then your mentor say, hey, since you're doing that, I'm helping you. Then that's how we could come together. But if we're not going to be doing what we say we're going to do, then that mentorship will not be there until you're ready. As I say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. All right. So all the students, they just get ready, and they got their mentorship that would appear. But if we're not ready, for the mentorship, we still have other tools that's out there. Virtual Mentor, it's a great platform. You just put the information, the health information, the age for the client, and it would list, all the different carriers that can potentially offer coverage. For those who just struggle making dials, we do have a power dialer. If you want to increase your productivity between 300 to 400%, we do have that available. The owner circle, the virtual system, we have a lot of things available to help the agent become successful, wherever path they want to go. But also, this is new, and I really like this. The quality member service, because if you think about corporate America, who get all the bonuses? The CEOs, the CFOs, who makes the passive income? Bosses, all right? Now, Sandra said they want to change that. They want to create, passive income for every agent, whether you're part-time or full-time. So going back to what I mentioned about Assura, for people like me who write a policy, I have a hard time going back and calling them a year later. What Assura, they will call these clients for me. And they may be more skilled in offering advanced markets. A lot of people want to sell annuities and these different types of products, IULs, but they lack the skill and the knowledge. Well, we do with quality, that they have a way to help, and that's a great way to generate passive income for the agent who originally helped that client. You help her one time, and you can also have about 5 other applications later on throughout your journey. That was not here when I started. So I'm very excited about that. Take a little load off my wife, right? Uh, Also, we still want to support everyone and help develop leaders. I think Brian Delaney says it best. He says, helping families is what we do, but developing leaders is who we are. We need leadership. And we know in order to get leadership, we have to help and train and develop leaders, right? And we can do that with all these different platforms. Thrive. It's a good way, as I mentioned, you could stop, you could focus and you could grow yourself so you can develop your business. We don't want to forget about the women because Ian mentioned uh, these women, they are running circles around a lot of us guys here. And they need that support, So we have a platform where their voice could be heard. And they can definitely encourage each other. And for us guys, we can join as well because we can learn a lot from women also. That's out there. The Agency Owner Academy, which I had the privilege of attending a couple of months back, top-notch training. And of course, John. So we want to make it as accessible and easy for anyone who wants to grow. But we cannot give you all the will to do that. It's out there. But let's talk about how we get paid because I'm assuming no one signed up for the free labor ad I posted. Everybody wants to get paid. So let's see what that look like. So we have an agent here. I'm gonna call this agent N. Okay? I think it's hard to spell the N, but he's gonna be N over here. And he's part-time. He's working about 15 to 20 hours a week. That's it. But it's 15 hours of focused activity. And he's gonna place and issue about 6 policies in a month. And our average premium is about $1,000. So let me kind of explain what that means. A client would normally pay between $80 to $85 a month for their policy. Now, it could be more based on age and health, and it could be less as well. But on average, they pay about $80 to $85 a month. And you multiply that by 12 months in a year, that's about $1,000 in your annual premium value. So that's what that means. And as a new contract agent, they will get 7% of that $1,000. So what does that look like? I write 6 of the $85 policies. I'm at a 7% commission level, but then I'd have made $4,200. Now the carrier is going to advance me 75% of that. They're assuming that I had good business. I didn't try to overprice or underhand the client. I took care of them. So they're going to pay me 9 months in advance. That's that 75% they are referring to. So for the month, I'm bringing home $3,150. So in advance, that's about $37,800. But that 25%, you still are entitled to that money. That's that back end money. Once you add that back end money to your advance money, that's about $50,400 in a year. Think about that for 15 to 20 hours worth of work. I know people working 55 hours a week and they're not making 50,000. You may know some as well. But now, and he went out. He liked the idea, so he told his mom about it. So this is his mother right here. Ed's still part-time, but she want to be full-time. And apparently she's working harder than Ed, and she got a promotion. She's at 85% contract, right? So she's working between 30 to 35 hours. And she has wrote between 15 or between 15 and 20 policies, which is about $85 for the client. So what does that look like for this young lady? Well, you wrote your 15 applications. She's at 85% commission level. So her commission is $12,750. Dan and Young asks all the time, where can you go to make that money? They're going to advance her 75%, which is for the first 9 months. So in that month, she's going to have over $9,500 deposited into her account. That's over $114,000 for the year. But that back end money, We ain't forgot about that money. You know, we need to add that back end money to that. That's 153,000 for the first year. Now, once again, I gave AT&T 9 years of my life. They never considered paying me that amount. And I thought I was a pretty good manager, but apparently I was not worth 153,000. That's what's, at your fingertips. Once again, going back to 30 to 35 hours of focused activity. I wonder if you got to work more than 35 hours. Is it worth it? That's something that we have to decide. But now, what makes Symmetry different? Because you can go anywhere and make money. I mean, you don't have to be with Symmetry. So let's talk about what makes us different. Because we have this ownership agreement, this program that says you have true ownership of your business. If you were to pass away, then your business will go to your family. It'll go to your wife, your kids, whoever you name as your beneficiary. And that was important to me because unfortunately, when I used to work for other companies, we have lost some employees. It's sad to say, as soon as they passed away, we had to fill that position. So we had some help wanted ads. I was doing interviews. Their commission did not go to their family. But over here, same thing, unfortunately. My mentor, Jason Hayes, we lost him the first part of January. And I was able to see Symmetry step up and take care of his family. They kept their word. I saw it firsthand. And unfortunately, we just lost another agency owner last week. I did have the privilege of knowing him personally, but he was a young man. I think he was almost 25 years old. He had a wife. Now, this contract is not going to replace him by any means. But after the grieving process, she could rest assured that, she got the business. That will make us different. That was impactful to me. I got tired of, starting up companies and then leaving. All right. So let's talk about what that means. That contract, and being an agent owner, right? So this Ann's sister, and I think everybody just outworth you. She's at 95% commission level, right? But what she does, she goes out and she tells other people about the opportunity. And I just want to, kind of go on the tangent real quickly. She's not telling these people about this opportunity because she want to get something from them. She's telling them this because she want to help them. She has found a way that she's not generating over 100,000 a year, and she's excited, and she's not selfish. So she want to go out and help people. I think Aronza said it best 2 weeks ago: free people, free other people. So now she told her friends. And now her friends, they're at an 80% commission level, and she's at 95% commission level. The carrier recognized that they need distribution. They need distributors, right? And not only do they need distributors, but they need somebody to teach and train and develop and coach these people, because these carriers not going to do that. So this young lady, she is developing, she's training, she's supporting her agents out here. And because she's doing that, the carrier is going to pay her the difference. She's not taking money from her agents. That's from her hard work of training people, that mentorship I talked about. So what does that look like? She's still in the field because she's still working hard. She's still writing 15 applications a month. So on her own pen, she's making about $10,000, right? A little over 10,000. Her agency is doing about 35,000. With her 15% spread, she's making about $3,900 once they advance the money. That's about $14,000 a month in commission. Think about that. Over the year, that's $175,000. Now, when I joined Symmetry and I saw these numbers, I liked the numbers, but I didn't really believe it. I'm like, man, whatever. I just sold everything, and you trying to tell me insurance, we pay that? Well, just this week alone, I got my statement from the month of September. And I didn't realize that $25,000 was deposited to my account. So these numbers are real. This week alone, I went out, I helped one family. It was like an hour. I wrote an annuity. $12,000 was in my account this week, plus the commission I made from the other policies. So you're talking about over $20,000 that has been deposited into my account this week alone. So these numbers are real. I didn't believe it at first, but they are real. You're talking about over 234,000 a year. So my question, I always go back, what makes Symmetry different? That definitely made a difference in my life. That made a difference. But more importantly, that time made a big difference. The ownership, knowing that one day I could walk away from the business and it will still be here one day. That made a difference for me. But once again, I'm still a small fry, because I've only been here about 3 years, or going on 3 years. You got some people that I know personally. They're no longer in the field. Their time is more valuable spending helping other people and develop other leaders, like Josh and like Ann and so forth. And all the other agency owners, I ain't gonna name names and get myself in trouble, but all these leaders in the Spieldenner agency, you have people, their time more valuable helping develop these ones. Now they didn't climb over the fence. So now they want to throw the ladder back to help us get over the fence. So their agency doing about 500,000 a month. They're still getting a 15% spread, and they're still gonna advance them at 75%. That's about $56,000 they are making in a month. That's a lot of money. That's over 675,000 in advance commission. That back end money, the other 25%, that will come out to be a total of 900,000. Now, I'm not knocking my former company, but they had a career path as well, and I was on a career path. But the number at the end was not 900,000. That didn't, unless they had that hidden in the fine print. They didn't show me that because I would have saw that. So that's the potential that they're offering to us, to everybody. And we all can do that. You don't have to be the most popular. You don't have to be the most articulate. You don't have to be the best dressed. You have to be just the hardest working person, male or female, to get that. That's all you need to be. Coachable and hardworking. And you could be making up 900,000. But as I mentioned before, we're not selfish. Free people, free other people. So this person, they want to step back and help other people become financially free. They want to help other people become to get the top contract. And if they do that, they get a $19,000 bonus. So why would not help people get over the fence, right? I'm making 900,000, and just by helping another person become financially free, the company gonna pay me another 228,000 in bonuses. That's over 1.1 million. So my question is, why you won't share this with people? It's a win-win for everyone. Once again, I saw the track they had me on. It was not a 1.1 million. Once again, if I would have saw that, it would have stuck out to me. Now, back to these bonuses, because we all work for corporations, all right? And who get the biggest bonus? The CEO, the CFO, vice presidents, they get those bonuses. My bonus, from the company, it was okay. It was like $2,000 I made. But the person above me, his bonuses, it was, I want to say it was what, 90,000? That's crazy, all right? It's uneven when it comes to the money being distributed out in corporate America. We are different. For those who just getting started, we want to give y'all bonuses too. I don't care, you just started 30 days from now. You get a chance to get a $1,000 bonus plus your commission. Your 90-day hustle, for 90 days, you go out, you work hard, you have that sweat equity, you're going to get your commission, plus you're going to get a chance to win a trip to Costa Rica. I think it's 4 seasons, I believe. I never been. They didn't offer that when I started. That's another $6,000 value. You fast forward, 90 days later, you get your commission, you also get the trip, plus you can get up to another $4,000 worth of bonuses. 120 days, 4 months, another 5,000. Your Grand Slam, another 2,500. You're talking about over $12,000 worth of bonuses, plus your commission, plus a trip. That would make things different because they want to share the wealth and the opportunity. When I saw that, I said, hey, how can I be a part of that? I need a vacation. But we got more perks, right? We don't want to be a hypocrite and telling people that you need to get a policy and I'm not protected. Now, just because we sell life insurance, that does not mean we are immune to death. So let's be real about that. So why would I, try to help your family and I don't help my family? But unfortunately, we can't get caught in that trap. And Central saw that because we have lost some people in the past and they did have coverage. So Central, they offered them and all of us, free life insurance for 1 year. You get over $250,000 in coverage on a 30-year term. And the first year, Central's gonna pay for that. Because Central understand they may be challenging the first year to make income as an agent. And you got this learning curve. But we don't want your family to suffer just because you want this learning curve. That's very generous. Also, in this position, most people ask, what type of health benefits do you all offer? Y'all got a good benefits. I get that a lot on interviews. What type of benefits? All right. Now I'm glad to say, you know what? We do offer, health insurance. Because when I used to pay for health insurance with AT&T, it cost me about $500, maybe $6. That was some good insurance, But the thing was, I didn't own the policy. And also, I couldn't use that on my taxes. Now, I have my own health insurance policy now, about the same amount a month, but now I can have the benefit of claiming that on my taxes now. So we don't want you about helping families, if you don't have no type of coverage, and which is optional, if you want to do that. But it's out there, it's available. So then let's talk about some of these trips we got going on. For the sake of time, I'll speed up a little, faster. So you have Costa Rica, these different carrier trips, Switzerland, London, Puerto Rico, Paris. I know I won at least 2 trips. I know Anna won several, Josh, several people on this call have had different types of these trips. And there's no vacation like a Central vacation. We just have fun, all right? You work hard, you have fun, and we get things done. It's available to everybody. So with that being said, we've told you who we are. So now let's talk about who we're looking for. Because this is not for everybody. So first, we look for people who are willing to listen and be coachable. Be a student. Because everyone says they are coachable, so it's time to be coached. All right? So we need somebody who could take the information and don't take it personal. Just see that, hey, we're trying to develop. We also look for people to associate. You have to plug into everything. We can't pour into you and develop you if there's nothing there to develop. You can't go to the bank and try to withdraw $100 if you never deposit $100, before. So associate, learn, all the negative energy, we have to kind of separate that to be a healthy environment. So a good mindset. And then you talk about the work. We got to have that hustle. That was a great call on Wednesday about hustle. But work smart. Some people work hard, but they do not work smart. So we want you to know hustle, work hard, but also work smart. And then the last one, which I really love this one, is change. You got to be ready to make a change, willing to make a change. I don't know what that change would be for you. It could be you want to change your area code, move to a different neighborhood, your zip code rather. You may want to change your finance. You may want to change your emotional state. You want to change career. You got to be to a point in your life that you are sick and tired of being sick and tired. You have to be ready to make a change. All right. I can remember when Jason reached out to me. I was tired. I tell everybody, I was out of the store. I would see the same customers. I knew them by name. They had the same problems. What's wrong with my SIM card? Same thing that was wrong with it yesterday. I had the same employees who told the same jokes. We had the same laughs. We went to the same restaurant, Chick-fil-A, ordered the same food, drove the same car. I was tired. I felt like Groundhog Day. I wanted to make a change. So there's two different people that we're looking for, two groups. The first group, Ed said it about 3 weeks ago, that top 20% of America. We are looking for those ones. They already exhibit leadership skills. They know what they want. They are hungry. They fit these 4 quadrants, and they're ready to go. So we want that top 20%. But then there's another group. The other group is it's the ones who are not yet in the top 20%, but they have a desire to get there. They have a desire to learn how to make that lifestyle. One thing we could do, we could teach you a skill set. We could teach you how to make dials. We could teach you how to write policies. We could do all of those things. But one thing we cannot do is give you the will to do it, the passion, the hunger. You got to have that. So if you're in the top 20%, hey, we want you. If you're not there yet, but you want to be there, we still want you to. Because me personally, I was in that second group. I was not in the top 20, but I saw what they had to offer. And I told Jason, man, what's the next step? So now you got to ask your mentor or whoever invited you, if this resonates with you, what is the next step? And with that, Mr. Grant, I'm going to turn it back over to you, man.
I appreciate that, John. Really, really great stuff today. Man, I knew you were going to bring it, and you did. Really, really, really good stuff. Hope everyone's taking notes. If you are brand new or if you're in that interview process with us for our next batch of hires, be sure you reach out to whoever sent you this link to hop on here, whoever you're working with and interviewing with, to let them know that you are looking to move forward in the interview process, and make sure you have your questions and your goals ready for them, so that they can discuss those with you and make sure it's a right fit both ways before making the ultimate decision. But thanks again, John, for taking the time out to pour into us today. I want to pass this over to Regional Agency Director, a good friend of mine now with the company. He's helped a number of individuals become successful here and become agency owners themselves. John mentioned in that corporate overview that, you know, not only do you want to achieve high levels, but help other people achieve high levels. And that's really the true fulfillment. And Josh has done exactly that. And so he ran a training, Mr. Josh Busick, Regional Agency Director. He ran a training for Brian Delaney's agency last week. And there was a ton of feedback right afterwards. There's a ton of feedback. We, of course, have ours, they have theirs. And not only was there a lot of feedback immediately afterwards on Friday, but then there were top producers and elite producers within the Delaney Master Agency on Monday who were saying they immediately implemented what Josh talked about on Friday, and because of that, they saw drastic results on Monday. You guys probably know Devin Johnson. He consistently writes a ton of business, agency owner with the company. He had incredible results, and he said it was because of what he applied from Josh. Aaron McLean, he writes like 30 to 40,000 a month. Incredible producer and agency owner. And he wrote, I think, just shy of $6,000 in a day on Monday. And I think his week ended up even way higher. So really, really excited that now we get to be privy to the exact same training, and probably better now. You probably polished it up even more if I know you. But be sure we're taking notes on this. And I want to pass over to my good friend, Regional Agency Director, Josh Busick.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. No pressure. No pressure at all. No, honestly, guys, get a notebook and pen because we got a lot of content to cover. But this stuff is a serious part of our business that really affects what we do. But it's also really simple. I mean, it's extremely simple. It's a lot of times this business is so simple, and then we complicate it ourselves. So some of this is going to be kind of coming back to fundamentals and being reminded of some fundamental things with the phone script and tie down. And some of it is going to be a little bit new with how we've learned to tie down virtual appointments. But yeah, so, I mean, one of the reasons Brian had asked me to come on and talk to his, and one of the reasons, like, he had, it's because we've all, let's talk about the elephant in the room here. We've all switched this year from in-person appointments to virtual appointments, right? We used to go set appointments to sit down with people in person, and, the coronavirus thing come around, and now appointments are virtual. The thing with virtual appointments is they're way more efficient, right? They are way more efficient. What is the thing that we know about efficiency, though? Everything that's more efficient, also there's a price to pay for it, right? And the price to pay for us with appointments being more efficient is we have to get better. All right, we have to get better. We used to be able to get away with not being so great on the phones with the tie down and with, doing things properly, because we could keep showing up at people's houses, right? If they weren't there for the appointment, we'd swing back after the next appointment. Sooner or later, we were going to catch them, right? So it's a little bit harder for them to, avoid being home all day than it is to click on the link that you emailed them, right? So this is going to be a training about learning how to get better instead of just wishing it was easier, right? There's a lot of you guys that have already mastered the virtual sales, and you guys are killing it and crushing it, right? And there's some of you that still just haven't really leaned into the uncomfortableness of learning something new. Because let's be honest, most of the problems with the sit ratio is because it's just different. It's different now, and it's new to us. And when things are new and we're out of our comfort zone, the tendency is desperation rises, right? And when desperation rises, standards fall, right? And somebody said the other week on a call, we never rise to the level of our expectations. We always fall to the level of our standards and habits, right? So we have to just kind of learn to lean into this uncomfortable bit and learn. And honestly, even if what I'm talking with you about today and training, if this is all new to you, understand it's going to take 3 to 4 weeks for some of you of continually practicing this and practicing this and then practicing this till it comes around, but stick with it. So let's jump into this. The first thing I kind of start with is let's come to an understanding that there's really only 3 reasons why someone doesn't meet with you. If you booked an appointment, they agreed to meet with you, and then you show up and you get zorched, as we call it now that it's virtual appointments. There's really only 3 reasons, right? So the first thing is really kind of figuring out and understanding if you're having a sit ratio problem, like your sit ratio should be 70%. You should be able to sit with 70% of the appointments you book. So if you're not hitting that, really kind of figuring out which of these 3 reasons is why, they're not meeting with you. Reason number 1 is they honestly forgot. They completely slipped their mind, completely forgot that they had a meeting with you, and they legitimately forgot. Reason number 2 is they didn't really want to meet with you, or they decided not that they didn't want to meet with you today, right? They did want to meet with you, but then today got busy and they decided they didn't want to meet with you today. Not a priority. Reason number 3 is something honestly came up. Life happens, work schedule changed, something happened with the kids at school, something honestly come up, and they need to reschedule, right? So 2 of those reasons we are in control of. One of those reasons we have 0 control over, right? Number 3, something honestly coming up, is the one that we don't have any control over. That's why sit ratio is never going to be 100%. If you have a week where your sit ratio is 100%, guess what? Next week you owe the numbers, so prepare for it to average itself out. But reason number 1 and 2, we have control over. We act like owners because we own it, right? The fact that if they honestly forgot, that probably means we didn't do a very good job on the tie down. If they decided not to meet, they just didn't want to meet with us today, procrastinate, kick the can down the road, reschedule, whatever the excuse was, probably we didn't have a mutual understanding of who they were trying to protect the home for, who was in danger of losing the home. We didn't have a mutual understanding of the problem to solve. And that's still on us. Now, good sit ratio is a two-sided coin. It takes really having a clear understanding of who they're trying to protect the home for and why. And then the other side of that coin is an effective tie down. You're not going to have a good sit ratio without mastering both of those things. Okay. Some of you guys do a really great job at the tie down, but you do get a little weak and sloppy on who they're trying to protect the home for and why, right? Sit ratio is still going to be a struggle. Some of you guys do a really good job of who they're trying to protect the home for and why, but you get a little sloppy on the tie down, right? You're still going to struggle with sit ratio, right? It takes both sides of that coin for an effective sit ratio. And honestly, from my experiences with coaching people, myself, when I run appointments, coaching other people, everybody wants to focus on the tie down part for sit ratio. And 90% of the time, it has nothing to do with the tie down part. Most of the time you guys run it. Most of the time it's uncomfortable to kind of dig in a little bit to who they were trying to protect the home for and why. And we get, we don't push into that because we're afraid of not getting an appointment if we push into that. And that's where most of the time the problem lies, but we're going to get into that. So today I've dubbed this 3 steps to a 70% sit ratio. So we're going to go over 3 reasons and 3 steps, 3 keys to a 70% sit ratio. Number 1 is mindset, right? And these 3 steps, they're in the exact priority order that they should be. So it starts with mindset, right? If your mindset isn't proper, if your mindset isn't right, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what comes out of your mouth. They're not going to believe it. They're not going to believe it because you don't believe it, right? It's sell or be sold, right? If you don't believe that you can lose weight, are you going to go to the gym and run on the treadmill? Of course not, because running on the treadmill is not fun, right? And let's be honest, the phones is the least fun thing we do in this business. That's the thing that we, dread the most, is the actual work on the phones. So it's the sell or be sold and having the proper mindset. Kind of like what we talked about a little bit ago, that we never rise to the level of our expectations. We fall to the level of our standards. And when our mindset is messed up, our standards fall. Desperation rises, standards fall. Kind of also that old saying by Henry Ford, whether you think you can or think you can't, either way, you're right. Right. We talked on the last boot camp about the mindsets and habits of top producers, right? We all see these top producers in the company, in the Spieldenner agency. We had them on the sales panel for the boot camp. And it's really easy to think that, well, they're top producers because they have some special tip or trick that works. And that's not true. They're top producers because they have the mindsets and habits of top producers, right? So the first thing is getting your mindset. The book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter, he always says results are a byproduct of our actions are a byproduct of our feelings, and our feelings are a byproduct of our beliefs, right? So hence, you want better results, you're going to have to change your beliefs. You're going to have to change your mindsets on some things, because until you do, you're going to continue to recycle the same past experiences and habits. So what are some of the proper mindsets when it comes to sit ratio that you really need to make sure you're starting with? Let's touch base on a couple of those. One of the first ones is, these families probably wouldn't have responded to a piece of mail if they weren't concerned about someone in their family losing the home, or someone in their family financially having a difficult time if they were to pass away, right? How many of you guys on here have ever responded to a piece of direct mail? I have never, ever responded to a piece of mail, right? In fact, I've never responded to any type of an ad if I didn't have a serious, I wasn't seriously considering purchasing it, right? I think there's only 2 times in my life that I've had a salesperson come over to my house. One was when I was looking to put new doors on the house, and one was for an ADT home security system, right? By the time I decided to look into an ADT security system, I already knew, as long as it fit the budget, there was a concern that I had. So I already knew that as long as the price was right and the product seemed good, that, I was going to move forward with it, right? The reason when I called the ADT home security guy, I remember it was the day I was in the car business, And I was sitting at my desk, kind of looking out on the lot, waiting for customers to come in, and all of a sudden I noticed the house across the street, there's like flames coming out of the windows, right? They're, rolling. Fire department comes, they start putting out the fire, but, nobody was home. They were all at work. So by the time, the fire department was notified by it, the house was pretty much, gone. And I got to thinking that day, I was like, man, me and my wife, we both work. We got 2 little dogs at home. If the house catches fire while we're not home, till the fire department got there, the dogs would probably be dead, right? So I got online, looked up home security systems, put in an inquiry with ADT, and set up an appointment for him to come over, because I already had a concern, right? I didn't just do that all willy-nilly, right? So the first one is understanding and adapting the mindset, getting back to like these people wouldn't have responded if there wasn't someone in their home that they were worried was going to be in a financial difficult situation at their passing, right? Number 2 mindset is that if there was actually someone in their family that was financially going to struggle if they were to pass, they probably are going to want to meet with us about finding a solution to take care of that, right? That's only going to be natural. Another mindset that's really good to kind of, make sure you got going is, if these people can remember their other appointments and show up for those, whether it's with their doctor, whether it's with the cable guy coming to fix cable, whether it's with the internet guy, whether it's with, whatever. Everybody in life has appointments, right? And if these people can remember their other appointments week, 2 weeks out, then surely if this is important to them, they can remember our appointment time, right? Like if they can remember their other appointments, why in the world wouldn't they be able to remember ours? And the last kind of mindset I have down here is homeowners should be more open to meeting with us virtually than in person, right? Let's be honest. Homeowners would prefer a virtual meeting to an in-person appointment 90% of the time, because it's less intrusive to them. They don't have to worry about, their house being cleaned up. They don't have to worry about if you're a high pressure salesperson that they don't like and you're showing them something too expensive. They don't have to figure out how to get you out of their home, right? So homeowners are more open to meeting with us virtually, right? So those are kind of some of the mindset things, first off, fundamentally, to kind of really kind of have, because it starts with mindset, right? So let's move on to step 2 of a good sit ratio, 70% sit ratio. This is the part where I honestly think most people struggle. And that is having a mutual understanding of a problem to solve, right? Because we don't want to have to sell a product. We want to be able to solve problems, right? We don't want to have to, people don't want to meet with a salesperson. They don't, right? And if you don't have a problem to solve, one, they're going to view you as a salesperson that's just looking to book an appointment with them to sell something. 2, if there isn't a problem to solve, there's not an appointment to tie down, right? If there's not a problem to solve, there is no appointment to tie down, right? So, and let's talk about why is it like, because I know for me, when I started, I was like, well, they already know what the problem to solve is because they sent this in. So why do we have to get back into that over the phone? Well, it's because it's human nature to, like when a lead comes in the mail, it talks about if you pass away, become critically or disabled, does your family need some additional insurance to make sure they don't lose the home? That bothered their conscience enough that they didn't throw it away. They responded to it. But what is human nature? Out of sight, out of mind, right? They're not going to continue to sit around and worry about that. They're going to kind of numb it out, right? The same as we all have in life. We've all known someone in our family or friend circle had a heart attack, something health-wise happened, and for a brief period, we get really health conscious ourselves. But then a week, 2 weeks later, we're not seemingly so health conscious anymore, right? Because we don't like, human nature isn't to sit around and worry about things. It's actually to block them out, right? It's not a fun thing to think about, the situation that your family is in. So a lot of times, we kind of numb it back out. We don't like to deal with the reality of it. And because if we deal with the reality of it, now we have a decision to be made, right? And we would rather be able to procrastinate with it. So I'm gonna, Ian, if you're available, I kind of want to role play how it is, that we come to a mutual understanding. We call it in our agency, we call it the emotional wound, digging into the emotional wound, right, over the phone. Because kind of the reason we call it the emotional wound is because it's kind of like people sent the lead in and then they put a Band-Aid over that concern. They put a Band-Aid over that fear they had, and they stopped thinking about it. And we got to kind of identify where that emotional wound is. And we got to pull that Band-Aid off and kind of poke at it again to remind them, hey, remember that feeling, remember this problem, because that's going to bring the urgency back around to where it's a priority to meet with us. This is where the value in them meeting with us is going to be, so that they don't decide that they don't feel like meeting with us today. So Ian, are you on here? You can role play with me, and if not, I'll pick somebody else.
Yeah, you got me.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to role play two different scenarios. The first one, I want it to be the traditional, husband or wife protecting the home for their spouse or each other. The second one I'm going to role play with you is a parent protecting the home for their kids, right? Because I want to show how it's really important that when we get to this part of the script, that we slow down and we don't rush it. Because this is where the tone of the script suddenly changes. This is where suddenly you hear the serious tone come over the conversation, to where now we can go into a proper tie down once we got this. So I'm going to pretend like I just got through all the health information, got down through, everything down to the mortgage. So Ian, it looks like here the mortgage for you guys was around $150,000. Is that correct?
Yeah, we made a couple payments on it, but that's pretty close.
Okay. And what is your monthly your mortgage payment on that coming out to?
It's about $890.
$890. Okay. So this is the insurance that if something were to happen to you, you were to pass away, become critically ill or disabled, that covers the mortgage. Who is it you were worried about making sure that mortgage was taken care of for if something were to happen to you?
Probably my wife.
Okay. So your concern was that if something were to happen to you financially, it might be a little difficult for her to take care of the mortgage and other bills on her own?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. Right? That's it. That's all the further I had to dig back into that, right? But here's what happens a lot of times when desperation rises. It's, I got the mortgage information. Okay, Ian, so who were you trying to protect the home for when you sent this in? Oh, your wife? Okay, that makes sense. Rushing through to the tie down. No. Take their mind back to the reality of the situation. Oh, okay, so your concern was that if something happens to you, it might be a little difficult for your wife to take care of the mortgage and other bills on just her income. Engage their reaction, right? If they're saying, well, no, it wouldn't be. Okay, well, you still don't have a problem to solve. Now you got to dig a little deeper to find what is the problem, okay? So if somebody, to me, if somebody says, well, no, they wouldn't struggle. We have other insurance. Oh, okay. So, this type of insurance is not required. This is completely optional insurance. So if she wouldn't struggle, what would be the reason you'd want to consider taking out some additional insurance? They're going to have to give me something, right? Because once we've come to a mutual understanding of what the problem is, now I have an appointment to tie down. If there is no problem to solve, there is no appointment to tie down, right? Let's say they said, a lot of times they say, you got the health information for both of them, and they say, well, really, we need to look at some options on both of us. Oh, okay. So your concern was that if something happened to either one of you guys, it's going to be a little difficult for the other one to take care of the mortgage and other bills on their own. I gotcha. That makes sense. Okay. Now I can move into a tie down, right? Because now their brain just went back to the reality of the situation. And this usually at this spot, this is where all of a sudden you kind of hear this quietness that come over the phone, this serious tone. And they're like, yeah, that's right. Right now, that's where the priority over the next several days, this is going to be a priority to them to take care of, because now their mind just went back to the problem, and that's going to add value to meeting with us. Ian, let's role play though now. If it's a parent protecting it for their kids. So Ian, looks like the mortgage here was around $150,000. Is that right?
Where are my keys?
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay. And how much is your monthly mortgage payment on that with everything included?
It's about $900 a month.
$900. Okay. And this is the insurance that if like something were to happen to you, it covers the mortgage, takes care of it. If something were to happen to you, who is it you're trying to make sure that mortgage was taken care of for? Was it your spouse, your kids, someone else in the family?
Well, no one lives here with me. Probably my kids.
Okay, they got places of their own.
Yeah, they're out on their own.
Gotcha. So your concern was you just were wanting to make sure that mortgage payment was taken care of, so that if something happened to you, they weren't having to come up with that $900 while they were also going through your belongings and deciding what to do with the home.
Yeah. Yep.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Right. Now, now there's a mutual understanding of why it is we're meeting and what it is we're going to take care of. Right now, there's going to be value there to be added. All right. If you don't dig down into that, you don't have an appointment to tie down. Let's just be honest. If you don't dig down into that and you don't have a clear understanding up front, you're going to, if they are there, there's still a percentage of them that are going to be there. You're going to be left to have to start that conversation on the in-home, right? Get in this over the phone just a little bit. You don't want to get too deep, but just a little bit over the phone sets the stage for a proper conversation in the home, right? Because the day or two leading up to you meeting with them, like when they're laying their head down at night and those things that we try to put off thinking about all day long come into our mind, those are the thoughts. Oh, Tom's coming over tomorrow, or Tom's meeting with me on Zoom tomorrow to talk about the situation here. Man, like I do need to get this taken care of, right? That thought process starts happening. Now, I want to throw a word of caution right here at this spot. If you're digging into those things for the purpose of backing them into a corner, they're going to sense it, and it's not going to be any good. Your motive has to be pure. Your motive has to be seeking to understand so that you can help. If your motive is manipulation, they're going to sense that. They're going to view you as a salesperson just the same. So you have to make sure that your motive of asking these questions isn't to back them into a corner. The motive of asking these questions is to seek to understand what the problem is so you can help, just like a doctor. You know, when a doctor has to answer you all those uncomfortable questions about your health, about your diet, about those things, it's so that he can help you, right? So getting close to timer. So let's move on to step number 3 of a 70% sit ratio. This is the effective tie down, right? We have changed some things now with the tie down because now we're meeting with people over Zoom. We're meeting virtually. We're not showing up at their house. It used to be we just said, hey, can you do me a huge favor? Can you put a little note here so you're going to remember I'm going to be stopping by between 6 and 7 o'clock or whatever. Now it's different. So Ian, I'll kind of have you on here again to kind of role play this tie down real quick. So Ian, okay, that makes sense. I can understand what you're trying to accomplish here. Well, I'm going to work with all the different companies, see who has the best prices and options for you. Then after that, we're going to have to get back together for about 15 to 20 minutes to go over these options and answer any questions you might have so you can go from there. We just traditionally do that over the computer. Do you got a computer, tablet, or smartphone? If I emailed you a link, you'd be able to get back on to go over these?
Yeah, I have a tablet and a smartphone.
Okay. And what time of day do you guys typically get home from work?
Evening, typically by 5.
Okay. You guys are both home from work by 5 and would be able to be in front of the computer?
Yeah.
Okay. It looks like the next availability I have for that time of evening is probably on Monday. My schedule's getting a little full, but I can probably try to squeeze you in around 5 o'clock-ish on Monday. If you guys think you'd both be able to be in front of the computer. I'll email you a link over here sometime in the next hour or two. Hey, can you do me a huge favor?
Yeah.
Hey, when you see that email come through from me, can you shoot me a text back at this number so I know it didn't go to your spam folder or get stuck in my outbox or anything like that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, awesome. I'd appreciate it. I'll get to work on this here. You have a great weekend in the meantime, and just shoot me a text when you see that link come through in the next hour or two.
Perfect, will do.
Perfect. Right. Over the phone, That is all I'm asking commitment wise from them. I'm asking for a little bit of commitment and buy-in. Like, hey, when you see that email come through, first off, make sure they agree to it. Don't rush this either, because it's really easy to say, hey, can you do me a huge favor? And when you see that email come through, can you shoot me a text back at this number? Blah, 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 blah. They didn't agree to anything, right? Hey, can you do me a huge favor? Pause till they acknowledge, right? Because once they acknowledge, like, you know, now they're actually agreeing to something. Hey, can you do me a huge favor? Yeah, what's that? Hey, when you see that email come through in the next hour or two, can you shoot me a text back at this number to let me know you got it? So I know it didn't go through your spam folder, didn't get stuck in my outbox, something like that. Yeah, sure, I can do that, right? Now they're agreeing to text me back. Again, I always say in the next hour or two, I am not a big believer in as soon as you book the Zoom appointment, send them the Zoom link, right? Dial time is dial time. I'm not sending the Zoom links until I'm through the stack. And then I'm going to send the Zoom links before I start the stack over. Just my personal thing. That's why I say the next hour or two. Okay, so now they agreed to text me back. I got through my stack. I am sending out the Zoom links. I know I asked them to text me back and they agreed to it. But once I send them the email, I am actually going to go ahead and text them. I'm going to go ahead and text them and say, hey, Ian, I actually just sent that email over to you. When you get a few minutes, can you check your email and let me know if you got it all right? And he's going to say, sure. Like, what do we all want to do? When we get a text message, we feel the need to respond, right? He's going to text back and he's going to say, nope, didn't get it. Yes, I did get it. You know, whatnot. Sometimes I wrote the email down wrong, right? So sometimes they didn't get the email because I wrote something in the email address down wrong. He's going to text back though and say yes or no. Most likely to say, yep, I just got it. Perfect, Ian. Hope you have a great weekend. Hey, and if you could do me a huge favor, make sure to put this on your calendar so you guys don't forget about what time we're meeting on Monday. That'll just help me out a lot. And what do you think he's going to text back? You say, sure, yeah, I can do that, right? What do you think the odds are? Now you're the guy in their phone that they're texting. You're not the insurance agent, right? You're the person that's in their phone that they're texting. Have a great weekend. Thanks, you too. This casual dialogue going back and forth. Rapport starts to be built, right? But two, do you think they're honestly going to forget about you at this point? If they're texting you back and forth and they're like, yeah, sure, I can put this on my calendar, right? And you get this going back and forth. The odds of them forgetting about you are not very high, right? So let's recap real quick for sake of time. There's only 3 reasons why people don't show up for a meeting that they agreed to. 1, they honestly forgot about you. 2, they didn't really want to meet with you or didn't want to meet with you today. Wasn't a priority. 3, something legitimately come up, right? Number 3 is, you know, the reason we can't control. Number 1 and 2 through these 3 steps to a 70% sit ratio are the ones we can control, right? We can only control what we can control. So again, those 3 steps are: 1, proper mindset. Whether you think you can or think you can't, either way, you're right. Number 2, making sure we have a mutual understanding of the problem to solve, right? Who is it you were trying to protect the home for? We call it the emotional wound in my agency. Making sure we have a mutual understanding of the problem to solve so that now we can do step number 3, which is an effective tie down. Get commitment from them that when they see the email come through, they'll shoot you a text back at this number to let you know that they got it. This way you know it didn't go to their spam folder, didn't get stuck in your outbox, or make sure you didn't write down the email address wrong. Go ahead and shoot them a text when you send them the email anyway, and then get some text message dialogue going back and forth with them and remind them and ask them, hey, can you make sure to put this on your schedule so you guys remember what time we're meeting on Monday, right? And now you're getting that dialogue back and forth. That's the training that I had that I did with, first of all, this is how I train my base shop. My base shop sit ratio averages around 70%. It always, again, a brand new agent, it takes 2-3 weeks to get the sit ratio good. But we're still doing the Friday, Saturday dials in my base shop. And even with Monday, Tuesday appointments, we're still seeing a 65-75% sit ratio, right? So this is the kind of 3 steps that we focus on. I hope that was of help to you guys. I hope there was some value to it. Ian, I want to kind of pass this back to you, man, to kind of close it down with any final thoughts or any calls to action you got.
Sure. Thank you, Josh. I really appreciate you setting this up for us and preparing and bringing it today. I know I saw at least everyone with their videos on taking a ton of notes. This obviously recorded, so the wonderful Terry will be getting us the recording out on GroupMe, I'm sure. At this point, Josh, to add would be to take away, as Cicely Newsom says all the time. So I don't have anything left to add. I just want to call you guys up, you guys and girls that were listening in today. Stop wishing that the sit ratio on virtual appointments was easier, and just get committed to making yourself better. So I want to give you a call to action. If you're committed to becoming a better version of you, if you're committed to start implementing immediately what Josh is talking about on your dials this weekend and booking your appointments so you can constantly get better, just go ahead and write on the Spieldenner GroupMe, hashtag committed to better. Hashtag committed to better. If you're truly committed to making yourself better. If you're not, don't kid yourself. Don't just do it because everyone else is doing it and you're swimming with the school of fish because it sounds cool. If you're truly committed to implementing what Josh did, and you're going to stop wishing things were easier and you're going to commit to getting better, hashtag committed to better. We know that you're in it, and let's go out there and crush it. Let's go out there and carry this momentum that we had this last week into this next week, because that was a phenomenal week, guys and gals. I know it's not our best, and so I know that our best is yet to come. Let's go out there and get it.